Right now, we're going to have more on the California DREAM Act, very controversial, as you know. Michael Wildes is a two-term former mayor of Englewood, New Jersey, on the cliffs there opposite New York City. He's a big Democratic fundraiser. He's also an immigration attorney. First of all, thank you for being with us, Michael. Good to see you.
My pleasure, Steve.
People in California, apparently polls indicate 80% of the people in California think the DREAM Act, which will enable undocumented kids to get all kinds of state aid, et cetera, to go to colleges and universities, is the wrong act at the wrong time in a state that is broke, when teachers are being laid off, class sizes are too large. Your reaction to this is what?
Well, first, let's pull the lens back on the camera, if you would. States are now navigating on their own in the Wild West of California, Alabama, and otherwise, because Washington has been definitely silent on immigration reform. The governor of California felt it important enough, and the legislature agreed, not to punish the children of those parents who had brought them in by their choice, and by no choice of their own or act of God. They were born into a family, and they would rather them not be on the streets, not in gangs, but actually educated, raising their academic excellence to a standard that would be competitive, and they can contribute back to the society that they're educated in.
Michael, there are two reactions, I think, to that. One is, look, this is illegal immigration, it's wrong, you know, it's illegal to begin with, etc. There are those people who will never be moved. There are other people who say it's not a bad idea, you want to create functioning members of society who will be lifted up by their bootstraps, and then their families will be lifted up, but this is the wrong time. We're laying off teachers, we're cutting down services. If you give money to an undocumented kid, you're taking money away from a citizen kid.
You coined it well. The president is trying to reconcile that we're a nation of immigrants and a nation of laws. And it's a real problem that we have right now, unfortunately, in this reconciliation. Why should we be punishing children? And yes, we're told to do more with less, and it's a rotten time to be dealing with giving any kind of financial value over to people that don't have the lawful right to be in this nation. But if the federal government's not doing it, then I'm playing devil's advocate right now, and the governor of the state's basically saying, do I want these children to lay fallow? Do I want to raise the academics? Do I want to make sure that citizen children and others will also be more competitive? And ultimately, in the big picture, this will serve California's greatest interest, because these young children will not only one day serve California, but our nation in a more productive sense as well. We don't want them to lay fallow, and yes, as a former mayor, as a former federal prosecutor, I'm sensitive to the costs. But I'm also a second-generation immigration lawyer. My dad represented John Lennon back in the day in the 70s, and all day long, as I'm a professor of law, we can debate these issues, but these families live this journey. We need to make sure that these children are not punished, and that we right this ship. This nation of immigrants needs to also consistently be a nation of laws, but we have to treat children and people who seek academics, who want to help our military, who want to end the war on terrorism and right our economic ship with greater discretion than we have.
That sounds good, but there are people watching saying, that's good rhetoric, it's America, it's a lovely sentiment. My kid isn't going to get the Cal Grant because an undocumented kid is.
Not true.
Not true.
You're not true, because the undocumented individuals can't go in by this now second DREAM Act until after all the legally allowed individuals have gone in first, and that's also another controversy. So,
well, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's a great point, but it may not exist in the real world, because you have a finite amount of money. It's a zero-sum game, Michael. As you know, somebody will get it, and somebody won't get it.
It the other way. What if they end up on the streets? Let's not allow them to go to school.
I agree. And you know, there are people with higher education then get better jobs and pay more taxes. And they have to be here. There's rules before. It's not someone can just come over right away and say, okay, I'm going to go to college.
No,
they've had to have been here for 6 years.
Guys, it's worse than that. I'm in New York right now. There are 7,000 ICE agents, 269 immigration judges, and there are 18 million people unlawfully in this country.
Wow.
So even if we mean well, the federal government doesn't have the resources, nor the policy or the inclination to remove them. So right now, would you rather the mayors before the current mayor in New York, from Mayor Koch onward, said, look, if immigration's serious, get the National Guard, get the kids out. Otherwise, I'm going to educate the kids.
All right, well,
now they get educated to a high school degree, they should go to college.
Michael, one last thing, and you're being devil's advocate. I'm always being devil's advocate on these issues. There are people who say, and they think they're right, that this creates a brighter beacon for people to come here illegally, because if they can get here and be here about, you're saying 6 years, some will say 3 years, 3 years of high school, do well, their kids will get the in-state tuition. Kids who come from Colorado do not get the in-state, but they're citizens.
I understand your argument. I understand your argument.
What do you say to those people? It's a beacon.
We had a former president, a former governor of your wonderful state, President Reagan, that gave an amnesty out to everybody in 1986 who could prove that they had entered before January of '82. And the question was asked then of the former president, former governor, rest his soul, ultimately, aren't we sending out a message for the hundreds of thousands or millions out there in the next generation that we're going to do this? Now, if we don't fix our immigration laws, we have nothing else but to put Band-Aids on illegal cancer.
Yeah.
We have to fix this so that we protect our homeland, so we protect our economy, and we don't have to debate issues like this. Unfortunately, every president has kicked the can down to the next president. This president really promised the Latino community, certain communities, great reform in immigration, and has been dormant in that respect. And again, the laws haven't been changed not only from Ronald Reagan, but since 1952.
But when Reagan,
do not have a system like other countries.
Yeah, when Reagan did the amnesty, everybody assumed this is it. In other words, if you're here, you're okay, and that's it, no more.
There was an amnesty, there was an earned amnesty, if you would, under President Clinton afterwards. January 14, 1998, there was another law.
No, I understand that, but Republicans who supported Reagan at that point said, this is fine, this is it. Yes, other presidents did pick it up as we went along the way.
This is talking about jobs. I remember when I was in Canada, and there was a green card lottery, and I don't know if they still do those. I didn't get it. I'm actually becoming a citizen now. You do still have them, okay? And
Can you imagine? We give out 55,000 green cards at the end of the year. I mean, again, I represent companies, wonderful people. At the very end of the year, we're giving out 55,000. It was brought forward by Senator Kennedy and a lot of others that said, look, we're getting too many people from Asia, too many people from South America. We need more people from Scotland and the UK.
And what about Canada?
Let's create a formula.
Well, yeah, and America
I don't make this up. I
know.
America is very open to the idea of bringing highly educated people to America, and especially people who have specific skills
and Jillian,
or specific money to bring into the country. But that's a different issue.
Immigration laws do need to be changed. You're absolutely right on that. And
no doubt. We want people earning money. We want people educated. We want the internet born on your soil.
All right, we got to wrap that right here.
But I wanted his dad had his work cut out for him because of the John Lennon immigration.
Show,
my gosh, what a story! That's a story in and of itself.
And we do a lot in California too. So we're open for business to help this wonderful country, again, founded on the backs of immigrants. Make sure that legacy our founding fathers envisioned continues.
All right,
well said.
And very well said. As people would say, founded on the back of legal immigrants, but that's another discussion.
Well, both.
Michael, thank you so much.
Both.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
He's terrific. He really
summed that up. Explained it all.
I like that.
You know, his side, obviously.
Exactly, and you know, in fact, if people get confused with me on certain issues,
you're playing devil's advocate.
I don't take a stand because it doesn't. So everybody else has opinions here. I just want clarity. I want every side to be heard.
All of us with opinions here, we also want clarity.
No. I'm saying that's why I'm not giving a specific opinion.
No, but he's saying because he was hammering him so much that people might think that you're on one side, but you're just questioning him to get the answers.
Believe me, after 17 years with you, I know exactly what you're doing.
Is it only 17?
Feels like.